Another day of Euro action, and my prayers were answered from yesterday. A very dire sequence of games yesterday, but today we had some goals. Things were kicked off by a very exciting affair between Ireland and France. Brady continued the euphoria from his previous game and scored a penalty kick early into the game, caused by arguably, not so much in my case, I think it's definitely the most overrated player in the tournament. Not in the world in general, but in the tournament at the moment, Paul Pogba is the most overrated player. Take that with a pinch of salt, take it with a shot of vodka, do what you must to accept it. Because I think that the big price tag that's been put on the big Frenchman has just kind of clouded people's vision as what someone who's £100 million worth should be. They should be of the level of Messi and Ronaldo. They should be of the level of Suarez. They should be of the level, I think, of Antoine Griezmann, even if you're going to say that, because he was obviously the decision maker when it came to the final third and the reason why France eventually got out of that hole. But I'm not just ragging on Paul Pogba because I think that he's not worth that price tag, but I think that overall his performance hasn't hit that standard yet. I didn't think he had a horrible game throughout, but the poor decision making to allow for Shane Long to get in front of him and then stumble into him gave Ireland that fighting chance. So Brady put the ball into the back of the net. I thought that France grew into the game more so. Ireland obviously went into the half 1-0 up, high in confidence, but the second half was always going to be a hard game to try and handle. And I think with that, with Antoine Griezmann and his movement off the ball, you have to stick with him like glue. McCarthy has to drop deep if he wants to come and pick up Antoine Griezmann. I talk about this tactically. Griezmann loves to drop deep and then play off a bigger striker. He does it with Fernando Torres at Atletico Madrid. He'll have Torres sit right on the last man. He'll drop into that pocket, making it very difficult for him to mark. So he plays the ball out wide. He plays it into Payet, Payet gives it out wide, and he just drifts it into the box, and he needs to be marked closer. The same thing happens for his second goal. The two centre defenders for Ireland cannot be going for the same ball. That's a criminal error. I know most people will look at Ireland and think, okay, they've done well to get there, but I'm going to take this as what it is, a one-off game. Ireland still had a chance to win this game. That's a really schoolboy error to concede that type of goal against France, because Antoine Griezmann, as I mentioned, he's a smart footballer. He's going to understand that Olivier Giroud is going to drag a defender across. All Duffy has to do is stay a little bit more central, drag in his fullbacks, and play a little bit more compact. But instead, they go for the same ball, and it's an easy knockdown from Giroud and a good finish from Griezmann. So that was the game that I was looking forward to the most because of my slight bias towards Ireland, and it panned out how I expected. I knew they would cause problems to the French. They've got that agenda, that score to settle, as Thierry Henry was sitting as he's in a commentator booth talking about that instance, which I think he's still a little wary discussing. Either way, there was a score to settle for Ireland, but I didn't imagine they would go on and win. It was yesterday was the games where an upset would have happened. I didn't think an upset happened yesterday. I imagined that Wales would have went through, Belgium would have went through, and Poland would have went through. It was a little tougher than it panned out, but today the cream rose to the top. The better teams went through in this competition. The second game, Germany took care of business. Jerome Boateng. One thing that stands out about Germany is how technically gifted they are in every single position. I'm talking about Manuel Neuer. I'm talking about Jerome Boateng. I'm talking about Mads Hummels, Kimmich, who plays out wide right, who I'm so impressed with at the moment. They're all so technically gifted, and Jerome Boateng emphasised that as he watches the ball, as it drops down, just sheer focus that certain strikers would love to have. Yes, it takes a deflection, but that ball coming out the air, he gives himself a fighting chance by watching it every step of the way. Bang, the volley takes a deflection and Germany go in front. But then they rely on the world's best goalkeeper to keep them at 1-0. A header which is from point-blank range, which has every right to go in, and Manuel Neuer with his long limbs claws it out, and that keeps Germany in front. And this is after Mesut Ozil had missed a penalty kick. And then they grew a little bit more confident, and the standout player for the game rose to the top and was, as everyone expected to be, as dangerous as Germany can be going forward. It is encompassed by the man who plays out wide left, who can beat anyone in the world one-on-one when he wants to, even on the left or the right, and that's Julian Draxler. Now, everyone was a little bit sceptical of Germany in this tournament because he never took Marco Reus, who most people assume to be the next best thing for Germany when the goals dry up from Müller and they have to draft in an aging Mario Gomez. But Julian Draxler has been overlooked. I think that last season for Wolfsburg, he was the reason why they were pushing teams like Real Madrid to the limit. And he caused so many problems for Real Madrid, drifting in from the right and in from the left. He can work on both right and left foot. and he just takes the man on one-on-one, drags it back, and Mario Gomez, the poacher that he is, sticks it away, and then Draxler gets his goal, peeling off his man from a corner and volleys it into the back of the net. And now, to just share my opinion on Germany, I would be scared if I was anyone playing Germany. Very, very, very scared. They never hit the heights early. Poland kind of exposed that Germany are potentially beatable. They exposed that in the group stage as well, but in this competition, it's all about hitting form at the right time. France took care of business in the second half. They've now grabbed 12 of the last 12 goals, in the Euros. They have all came in the second half. So it's shown that they're a beatable team in the first half, but you have to stay concentrated for 90 minutes to beat a team of that quality. That's why I don't count France out. That's why I fancy them. If they happen to play Iceland or England, I still fancy them to go through. In this tournament, the upsets kind of happened early on the group stages, but because of the third place rule, most of the big teams were allowed to go through. And now I think in the latter stages, we're going to be given a neutral's dream. Yes, everyone wants to see an underdog, but we're going to be given, I think, the best teams in the world all facing against each other. That's how I think things are panning out. They're panning out that way at the moment. And then Belgium would go on and follow that trait. They took care of business comfortably against Hungary. That young lad, what's his name again? Eden Hazard. Yeah, it was just so amazing to see him back playing football. I was a little worried that he kind of wandered by the wayside in the season. Just kidding, of course. But Eden Hazard was showing just the signs of confidence that used to make him so breathtaking to watch at Chelsea 2 seasons ago. Taking on players one-on-one. Kevin De Bruyne was outstanding from start to finish. Belgium, at times, are caught in the counter-attack. I think Hungary, if they had a little bit more of a cutting edge, could have caused more of a problem to Courtois and goals. But you can't take anything away from the talent that goes forward. Nainggolan, there's a reason why this lad's been chased by some of the Europe's elite teams with his Vidal-esque approach and kind of similar hairstyle, except his is blonde. And he's got that final product as well. He helped then provide for Carrasco's goal at the end. Carrasco, of course, the man who most people are recognised from making out with his girlfriend after a Champions League goal to get them back into the tie. What a lad he is. And it shows that they've got so much depth off the bench as well. They don't have to go to the standard players of De Bruyne, Hazard and Lukaku. They've got players that they can bring off the bench who are of that quality. And that's what makes Belgium very dangerous going forward. And I would be worried if I was a Wales fan coming into that game. Wales, I think, are better than Hungary. Collectively, defensively. Going forward, Hungary are not a bad team, so I think that Wales are going to have to throw something other than a Gareth Bale free kick or a cross into the box that deflects in to try and break the deadlock against Belgium. They are beatable, there's no doubt about that. Italy have proven that at the start of this competition, but when they get into full flow, similar to Germany, these teams are going to be dangerous going forward. So collectively, the standout for me today was that the usual suspects are now proven that it doesn't matter what happens in the group stage. We can have little, I say, shaky moments in the tournament, but it is a marathon. Someone needs to print that out and put it on their own heads when they're thinking about questioning some of these bigger teams. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Portugal haven't even got up to 3/4 pace yet, but they're into the quarterfinals. If they play very well in the next game, then they're in the semis and they're a couple of games away. So yes, we can criticize these teams, but as long as they're progressing, as long as they're having time now to get used to the competition, get used to their opponents, and get used to playing together, getting that chemistry right, there's a lot of dangerous teams left in this competition. I mentioned a couple of clips back that I was worried that the Germans were going to go and lock it up again. Lock it up. And I think that they will, from what I've seen today, it's going to take something very, very special to beat them. It might be an Antoine Griezmann. It might be something special elsewhere. But it is going to take something with a kind of mob mentality, a crowd behind them to go forward and dismantle the machine that is Germany. But I want to know what you guys think. Agree or disagree? Hope you're enjoying the day-by-day recaps of the Euros. We're going to keep this up. Tomorrow we'll be back in the studio. We'll get Jason's thoughts on it. England versus Iceland tomorrow. Looking forward to that game. Italy, Spain. What a corker that is. My mouth is watering. I feel like I'm just about to eat a filet mignon. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Twitter, Francis_Maxwell. And I'll catch you lads very, very soon.